Don't buy the most expensive life insurance policy being peddled to thousands of retiring school teachers. In this educational video, I'm going to address why retiring school teachers should consider choosing the no survivor option at retirement. You'll understand why. Stay with me. So my name's Doug Andrew, and I've been helping thousands of people optimize their assets, minimize taxes, prepare for a comfortable retirement so they will not outlive their money now for nearly 5 decades. Among all of these thousands of clients, I've had many school teachers that have come to me at retirement, because at retirement planning is something totally different than maybe what you did for retirement planning. Oftentimes, school teachers would be participating in the school retirement system, and they realized that they may not be able to have enough money, so they would contribute money to the state's 401k or 403bs, which is a qualified plan for educators and others, or maybe TSAs, tax sheltered annuities, and what have you, to supplement their retirement because they were not going to get the amount of earnings that they experienced maybe the last 5 years they were teaching school. So I'm going to use a general example here to talk about the difference between a defined benefit pension, a defined contribution plan, because school teachers, police officers, firefighters, and there are still corporations out there, large ones, that offer defined benefit pensions. Most corporations have switched the last few decades over to defined contribution plans, the most common of which is a 401k. So basically, a defined benefit plan is based upon a defined benefit or retirement income that's going to be paid out based upon some kind of a formula. That's why it's called a defined benefit. So let's just be simple here. A lot of states may have a defined benefit pension for school teachers that will pay that school teacher at retirement 2% for every year of service that they taught school. So for the sake of simplicity, let's say that we're talking about a school teacher that taught school for 30 years, okay? 2% times 30 is 60%. That means that school teacher will get 60% of whatever their average salary was, maybe the last 5 years on the average that they taught school, okay? And so most school teachers go, I can't make it on 60% of what I was earning just before I retired. And so they want to sock away money to supplement that other 40%. And that's why they put money in 401ks and 403bs and TSAs and what have you, because they don't know any better. And they don't learn about one of my favorite financial instruments that knocks the socks off of 401ks, 403bs, and TSAs. It's a max funded indexed universal life insurance contract. If it's structured correctly and funded properly, it qualifies to be what I call a laser fund. And there's a lot of educational episodes on that. And I'll give you a copy of my most recent best-selling book at the end of this episode, if you stay with me, called The Laser Fund. Let's get back to what I want to talk about is this defined benefit pension. So let's just say that the school teacher is going to get a defined benefit pension of $5,000 a month, okay? Now, that means that they were earning more than that before they retired. They were maybe earning, $100 and something thousand a year, which is $8,300 a month. But because they're only going to get 60%, let's say it's $5,000 a month. This is what normally happens just prior to retirement. They invite the retiring school teacher in to meet with a counselor. And the conversation might go something like this, or this is what's going through their head, okay? The counselor sits down and says, okay, now, you've taught school for 30 years, 30 times 2%, you get 60%. That your defined benefit is $5,000 a month. and there will be a little cost of living increase each year until you pass away to sort of keep up with inflation. That's part of this defined benefit plan. Now, I have a question. You would like to share this asset, because it's an asset, with your spouse, correct? Okay, and they have your spouse there because what are you going to say? Yeah. Well, you said an asset. Yeah, see, because when you really think about it, $5,000 a month is the income to start out with, times 12 months a year, that's $60,000. And you could live 20 years. Chances are you or your spouse will live at least 20 years, your life expectancy. So 20, years times 60,000, that's 1.2 million bucks. And there's a cost of living increase, so it could end up being 1.5 million or even $2 million if you live 20 years or longer. That is a substantial asset. Don't you want to share that $1 million to $2 million asset with your spouse? And of course, people go, well, yeah. Okay, well, here is what we've done to help you do that. Now, instead of taking $5,000 a month, if you'll take a reduction, let's say $4,000 a month, it's $1,000 a month less, but you'll take $4,000 a month, and then if you happen to pass away, we'll keep paying that $1,000 a month to your spouse for as long as they live. And so that is the way that you've been able to share this, because if you die and you don't choose this survivor option, it's over. It's gone. Even if you died 4 months after retirement, it's done. You want to share that asset, don't you? And of course, most people go, oh, absolutely. And unbeknownst to them, they just purchased one of the most expensive life insurance policies they will ever buy, because that's all it is life insurance that's allowing the pension fund to be able to do that. But see, they don't say it that way. Now, if you say, well, golly, I don't know if I want to give up $1,000 a month. Well, you could give up, $600 a month or $700 a month. And then if you die first, your spouse will get 50% of what you were getting the rest of their life. That's called the 50% survivor option. There's usually about 6 different options for different things, but the most common are the 100% survivor benefit or the 50% survivor benefit. And so people just go, okay, and they buy the most expensive life insurance policy they're ever going to buy, and they don't think about it. So what I've usually done is said, now when they do that, just say, no, I want to take the no survivor benefit. And they'll go, what? Then we're going to have your spouse sign here that you chose to leave them out. And they're going to put you on a guilt trip for doing that. Now, what they may not tell you is, well, what if my spouse dies before me and I get remarried? You cannot name your new spouse as the new contingent beneficiary. If your spouse dies first and then you die, it's gone. You cannot name a new beneficiary, which means you cannot name your children. So if your spouse dies and you say, well, I want this asset that you were so concerned about sharing with my spouse, I want to share it with my family if I die 4 months into retirement in an accident. Sorry. You cannot share it with your family. You cannot name your family as beneficiaries, okay? Now, there are certain term periods and what have you, and there's different options, but the most common is the 100% survivor benefit or the 50%. Now, if you just do the math, this is called pension maximization. I've helped many school teachers do this. I say, take the no survivor option, the full $5,000 a month. And if you're willing to get by on $4,000 a month, let's take that $1,000 that you were going to give to the state for that life insurance, and let's give you all kinds of flexibility where you can name a new beneficiary, you can name your kids. If your spouse dies before you and you get remarried, you can name as many new spouses as you want as the beneficiary of that life insurance policy. And so you are in control. You take that $1,000 a month, and people say, well, how much insurance can I get? I say, well, do you want that $1,000 a month to grow at a really good rate of return? You might need a couple of $100,000 of insurance. If you want to just get the highest death benefit to maximize what you leave behind, and let's say they're in their 60s, $1,000 a month could possibly get them $1 million of life insurance with an IUL policy where you're minimum funding instead of maximum funding. Well, now, okay, when you die, then you leave behind $1 million. So if you do die first, your spouse gets $1 million and can use that however they want. They're not just stuck with $4,000 a month until they die. They have $1 million, and that's going to go down to your children. Or if you and your spouse both die in a common accident, you leave behind $1 million tax-free to your children or your trust or whoever you want, a church, a charity. But if you choose the survivor benefit with the state, you just bought the most expensive life insurance policy you'll ever buy, and it has no flexibility. You have to die first. And then your spouse will keep getting it. If your spouse dies first, it's over. Your children, they cannot receive that. So you want to maximize your pension by taking the maximum amount. Go ahead and sign the waiver that you will not sue them or your spouse will not sue them, and make sure you set aside that difference and maximize that asset with flexibility. That's called pension maximization. I hope you've gain some insights into some opportunities that maybe you didn't know existed before. If you or someone you know is a school teacher or somebody that has a defined benefit pension, make sure they understand how to optimize that or maximize that pension, and they don't buy some expensive life insurance policy from the pension fund or the representatives of that pension fund, because they're trained to sell life insurance incognito. Don't buy into that. If you want to learn more about how a max-funded IUL, or what I call a laser fund, can help you optimize assets, diversify, and create the foundation for a tax-free retirement, because the money will be tax-free out of the laser fund when you access money or if you die. It won't be tax-free coming out of the pension, okay? A lot of advantages to using this instead of a survivor benefit on a pension. So learn more, claim your free copy of this 300-page book by going to laserfund.com, Laser fund.com, or click on the link below. You contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling, have some skin in the game. I'll cover the rest of that cost, and I will pay for the book. This side has 200 pages, all the charts and graphs and explanations, 14 chapters. If you learn more by stories, then you flip it over here, and this has 12 chapters, 100 pages with 62 actual client stories. If you want to use both your right brain and your left brain, I would read both of these books, but claim your copy, and this is about you, your brighter future, and being smart. When you're in there, there's options to listen and learn, watch and learn. We teach educational webinars. You can register for one of those. You can even fill in your name to talk to an IUL specialist with no cost, no obligation, to see how a laser fund may be the dream solution for you.